follow me when the sky starts to change. Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again.
Welcome to the Stampede. My name is Legend D Vash, and I'm back to give you the full rundown of tonight's Raw on Netflix. And now let's Netflix and chill by discussing the highlights, because tonight was a packed show. It was the post-after show of the Royal Rumble 2025, and we can't wait to discuss it because y'all fans are ridiculous. So without further ado, here are the highlights of the night. We got two of our Elimination Chambers matches and one upset, which is Liv winning, but at what cost? What would this mean for Io next? Because everyone's her at WrestleMania and main event. So let's see, where does the story lead for Io Sky? Second, we got CM Punk as expected to go over Sami Zayn, but KO attacking Sami in the post match and give him a power driver. Are we writing him off the show, or what does this lead to? Are they gonna have their WrestleMania match? Let's talk about it. Jay has a beautiful emotional moment in the middle of the ring because his is well-deserved win, becoming the 2025 Royal Rumble winner. I don't care what you guys say, it's fucking well deserved, and we will break it down more if it needs to, as much as it does, or maybe a video in the future. And oh yeah, we had an encore as well. It wasn't just once, it was 12 Yeet concerts. And Penta dominated Ludwig, Kaiser. New Day finally takes a win as heels. And lastly, Netflix, fix your damn buffering, static, whatever was going on. It was hella confusing.
With anime in their souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a duo of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. Allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds. Grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience like none other. Brought to you by AniMa W3 Studio. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. So tonight, it's going to be me and Vash doing our post-show coverage. So you guys probably were able to see walk-ins earlier because we usually do a thing every Monday. And of course, PLEs, where we have walk-ins and Vash do a little sidecast so you could see the reactions to the event. If you guys want to check that out, be sure to check out the Twitch. You guys can see how they reacted to certain points of the show, just in case you were curious what they thought. And as always, you know me, the genius of the sky. Drop this box. And right here is the visionary Legend D Vash. How are you doing?
It's a great man. Great night of Raw. Like Drop said, you can watch us on twitch.tv/AniMa W3 Studio. That's with a 3. And it is a sidecast that I really enjoyed doing with Watkins. We did the Royal Rumble as well, and then the post coverage. So that was like an 8-hour stream that night. It was a
Mm.
pleasure. It definitely got me Watkins burnout the next day. I did Off the Bench, and then that was released I was about to say yesterday, but technically by the time we're doing right now, 11 o'clock at night this morning. So go check out Off the Bench. It's our weekly seasonal coverage. But hey, Raw was pretty fun. It was a good 2 hours and a half show again, I believe. So it was consistent. It seems like that is the pacing that Triple H likes to do. I'm curious to see when we will get to the 3 hour mark again, or would that happen, or are we ever gonna get like a 10 o'clock or like a 9:45 close show? So I'm curious to see, depending on the story or depending what's happening in the future, the story will be told as a visionary, as I said. And I can't wait for us to break it down because, we had time to mellow in the Royal Rumble, see the
Mhm.
results, and see what the timeline, the community, the IWC, the fans have said. But the most beautiful thing is always what's important is the crowd fans because they spoke tonight, right?
Yeah,
Right? Right, Drive? They spoke it.
yeah, I was actually really happy about that because sometimes whenever we come back from a pay-per-view, you get like those on and off crowds where sometimes they're active throughout the night, and then you have that crowd where as soon as you walk in, they're like excited for that first segment, and then throughout the show you don't even hear a peep. So I'm glad that they brought the energy tonight. That is something I really appreciated because
They
that
did.
definitely helps enhance the show.
It really did. The Yeet concert was amazing. The encore, the emotional, like you felt the environment, you felt what it was. Even when it came to the Charlotte Flair stuff, the booing, like I said it during the
Mm.
stream with Watkins. It's like, look, I'm a big fan of Charlotte. I like what she has done, and I like what she has been doing over the years. But sad to say, I have not been there all this time. I've seen it through the clips online and everything else, but I wasn't there. So seeing her win, great for her, but wrong time. She could have got the two-time opportunity next year or in Saudi or the following year, anytime. But right now, this wasn't it. And I understand that she's loved by the fans, that she misses everyone, but then it didn't feel impactful that she won, and now everyone's booing. At least she's acknowledging it because she said it herself. You got to woo me or you could boo me.
Yeah, and I definitely do have some words to share with that a little bit later because I'm actually pretty excited to get into that discussion when we dive into the whole Charlotte Flair promo when it comes to that
Hmm.
interaction of Rhea and everything along the lines of that because I definitely do have a few things I want to share with that
Of
because
course.
I actually enjoyed that segment and I'll definitely explain why.
I couldn't hear about that. And other than that, like my craziest highlight is the Penta stuff. That was really dope to
Oh
see.
yeah.
But I can't force to break it down once we get to the segment is the Jey Uso stuff
Hmm.
because like the whole timeline and one of the fellow content creators that we're watching off air was also speaking about it. So it just shows the fans not even knowing how to take what they did want, but they never got it, and they're disappointed more at the results when they should understand the bigger picture than what is at face value. So I can't wait for us to break that down as well because that's something that grind my gears.
Oh yeah. So we might as well just start off by doing that. We're going to start off with our headline story because, just in case you guys are new here, there's probably some other folks out here, which I happen to be really fans as well, that does the exact same stuff as us, where they start from top and bottom with the way that the show is showcased from us from 8 o'clock to whatever time the show ends. But we do something a little bit different here where we talk about what's important first, because usually if there's like a crazy moment that happens towards the end of the show, normally you would probably check in just to see our genuine reaction to that. So we're going to start off with our headline story, which was the main focus, because now that the Royal Rumble is out of the way, it's time to focus on the Elimination Chamber. And what happens with the Elimination Chamber? You get some Elimination Chamber qualifying matches, and we had Liv Morgan versus Io Sky take place. This was announced earlier in the evening because we had Adam Pearce talking about Liv Morgan versus Io Sky and Sami Zayn versus CM Punk. which of course we
Which
will
makes
dive
sense.
into that right after we talk about this one. But the way that we saw things go down when it came to the Judgment Day as a whole, before we start getting into the whole Liv Morgan and Io Sky situation, we saw Finn, because he came back during the Rumble, really hoping we get a repackage of his character sometime soon. I'm honestly hoping maybe this is the plan for WrestleMania season. You get a match out of him and Dom, because I just really want to see Finn displayed the way that he should be. So hopefully this is the beginning stages for that. But we see Finn come into the little clubhouse. Finn's pissed at Dominic because he lost that privilege to regain the tag team titles, and he blamed Dominic because of what happened to JD McDonough, which wasn't his fault, because when you're in the world of professional wrestling, injuries do happen, and all we can do right now is hope that things get better for JD McDonough, because he's a great performer. And I'm honestly hoping as soon as he returns, this is going to be a kickstart when it comes to his push when he comes back. Because I definitely feel like he should be getting a new push, especially if you're away from TV for so long. You come back with this new road to go down, really hoping for that. But we find out that Finn Balor is actually having a qualifying match against Seth Rollins next week, which is pretty exciting. Those two have been in the ring together. Those two have a lot of history, so that's going to be a very fun match to watch. And we also know that Liv Morgan has plans outside of her qualifying for Elimination Chamber. She also has future plans for the tag team titles. Just in case you guys forgot, they are having a little thing going on with Bianca and Naomi. But the real meat and potatoes of this is what happens as we're starting to build towards the match. We see Io backstage. Well, first off, we see Rhea backstage. She's walking, and then she comes across Io. If you guys are fans of the podcast, you guys know that me, Watkins, and Vash are huge fans of Io Sky. We absolutely love her, and we wish the best for her, which is why we're really pushing for her and Rhea to have a match at Mania, which obviously, once I pass the mic to Vash, I'll give my thoughts on that, because I wasn't able to share my thoughts on that when they were doing the sidecast, because you were probably expecting Drop to be upset tonight, but I'm not, because I have an idea of where this is going.
We did mention that during the sidecast when we saw, of course, spoiler guys, Io Sky lost to Liv Morgan because it was qualification.
Yeah.
And we'll dive more into the match, but when me and Watkins thought about it, like, wow, like Watkins' face was priceless. His face was in a shocking most valued. Like, what the fuck did I just see? And me, I was in disbelief as well. But I was like, oh, we're really going this route. And I was curious to hear your thoughts. Not that you're telling me that you have more of a theory, so I can't wait to hear where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But back to you into what you're saying, because like me Walker said, I'm curious to see where you will go this, because you are a big fan of Io Sky, and just seeing her lost to this match, I can't wait to see where do you think her route will go. Like, what's her journey?
Mm-hmm. So what we end up seeing is a little interaction between Rhea and Io, which is nice, because at least Triple H is telling us, okay, we know you guys really want this match. We're teasing it. We're throwing a couple interactions between them backstage. It's still in our minds. We did not forget. Because they do that for a reason, because obviously they want to see the reaction when it comes to certain things that they showcase in their episodes. And obviously, you got a pretty good reaction when you saw Io Sky in that segment. But the thing that rubbed me off the wrong way, I will admit it first, is when Io gets attacked backstage. Because when I saw that, I'm like, okay, what is this here? But yet again, this is a typical Liv Morgan thing where she tries to play the cards in her favor. She's obviously a heel, so she's trying to get that easy route to get that easy win. But once you see the match itself, it was actually a highly competitive match. You're not going to just attack Io Sky and she's going to be done in the back. No. Her and Liv Morgan did a very good job in their match tonight. There was a lot of close calls, and I was really into this match. And it just shows again that you put Io Sky in a match, if anybody, should make them look like gold. Just like Seth Rollins, you put him in a match, if anybody, will make him look like gold. Look at that match between Seth Rollins and Omos. As soon as that match was announced a couple years ago, people did not expect that match to hit. It ended up being a pretty good match and Omos' best match that he got out of Seth Rollins. What is your initial thoughts before I start diving into my whole idea of where this is going? Spoiler alert, of course, like Vash said, Liv did qualify to participate in the Elimination Chamber because Rhea, as we expected, I would assume you probably expected Rhea to come out. She went there to help back up Io Sky because she obviously knows Judgment Day at this point. She knows how they do all these different kinds of shenanigans. And she wanted to help her in the long run, so Liv and Io could just be a one-on-one thing, but she ended up costing Io the match. But what is your thoughts overall when it comes to the match or anything beyond what I said?
So to elaborate about the Judgment Day, the Finn stuff, real quick, because I love how Dom and Liv, for those that haven't noticed, over the time since what happened over there last year during SummerSlam, the kiss and everything, now to show their affection on screen, they do like the nose thing. So instead of kissing or getting, to affection on screen, they do nose things. So those little details is very sweet to see in the acting aspect. So I want to give the quick notice. Two, when it comes to the Finn, I like how he came back in trying to take in charge, and I felt the anger, the upsetness that he felt hurt for his boy JD because he did lose his tag team partner, and I love how Liv gave the back up to Dom. Dom saying like, "Hey, I got you a match too." Finn has now another chance to go after Seth. I'm really curious to see where the results will be. I feel like Finn should take that result, but most likely it will go to Seth since, obviously, spoiler chat, CM Punk won over Sami. So right now we have John Cena and CM Punk. It'll be interesting for Seth to join as well since, he has to go there, take CM Punk not to go to WrestleMania and, go over there in main event. So it'll be pretty interesting in that aspect. Where would that lead to? Then when it comes to Finn, Dom. Dom, where could he lead to? I'm not sure. But Drop, you bring up a good idea. Would it go to Finn versus Dom at WrestleMania? I don't mind that. But then would Dom lose again? Because now that's 3 times he had lost at WrestleMania.
See, I don't know.
Because also Finn has to go over as well. So that's a tough part too.
Yeah, because you put both of them in a predicament where both of them need to win in order to really propel themselves to the next level. Because you look at the side of things when it comes to Dom. Obviously, he's being put in a position where Finn's getting full of himself. He's trying to manipulate the entire situation. He's just trying to be in charge of everything, making all the rules, pretty much just going by the rules that they originally set to begin with, where there's no leader in Judgment Day. But yet again, you had people like Damian Priest get a little out of control, which is why they ended up turning on him. And now Finn Balor was trying to really back up what the Judgment Day was when they originally formed this whole entire thing, and now Finn Balor is going down the exact same route. So, in a way, it seems like they're trying to help the audience feel some sort of sympathy for Dom because of the predicament he's in and how he's getting pushed around with Finn. And then you look at Finn's case where, I'm just going to come out and say it straight up. He's pretty much in a predicament where he needs a complete shift in his character because Finn Balor is the kind of talent that you really want to push in the main event scene. You want to get him involved.
He's great
with a lot of key players. Look at Damian Priest. He's on his own. He's doing his own thing. Finn Balor should be doing the exact same thing too, but obviously he has to deal with whatever's going on with the Judgment Day at this very moment because I feel like it's clear as day where it's like, okay, your tag partner is going to be gone for a couple months, so you really got to start pushing that whole story with Finn. Like, how is he going to break out? How is he going to leave Judgment Day? Because obviously he's not happy there. He doesn't want to be there anymore. So you really got to figure out exactly, what sort of move is Finn going to make. So it's kind of really hard. It's kind of hard to make a case as to what person you want to really give it to. If it was up to me, I mean, you would think logically when it comes to the booking, it probably would be Dom that could potentially go over just based on the whole sympathy story and getting pushed around. But at the same time, I kind of miss that. I can't say kind of. I miss that old Finn Balor. Finn Balor that came out with the trunks. Finn Balor that I got interacting with the crowd when he had the whole lights come on and off when he was doing his entrance. Excuse me. So it's like it's really hard to predict exactly. Like, I mean, I can't really say hard. I mean, they both deserve it, honestly. So it's really hard to really.
Exactly. So it's a hard choice. So like for Finn, I can't wait to see where the next weeks lead up to, and for the following, effect when he versus Seth. So that would
Yeah.
be pretty interesting. And now coming to Io and Rhea, beautiful moment like you brought up that Io and Rhea gets teased once more. We know that, hey guys, we know the internet, we know y'all want this. We teased it last time 2 months ago. Now we're teasing it again. It was beautiful to see. But
Yeah.
then Io getting attacked by Liv, that threw me off. I was like, come on, backstage
Yeah.
hits. I feel like this is the fucking parking lot in fucking NXT. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
NXT parking lot, everyone gets jumped. In the backstage, anyone gets jumped. It's like you either stay in your locker room or you don't leave until your match comes out. Like, don't stay out there. But Io losing. Now the transition, because right after that, we got Io going to the match. She has a bit of shoulder pain. Liv and Io worked so well. Me and Watkins was very impressed by this match of Io and Liv.
Mm-hmm.
They were, because the last time they versed, which me and Watkins did forget, the last time they had a match was in December at Saturday Night Main Event, where
Yeah.
me and Watkins actually saw her in person. We saw this match and we totally forgot about it. But it's because it's been 2 months. And the match was well executed. I feel like this match was way better than previous. And the result, like when it comes to match, guys, I don't have any too much highlights. If you want to see the highlights, go check out my reaction on the Twitch as a VOD. But when it comes to the result, it threw me off. As an EO fan and Liv fan, I'm both fans of both, but Liv has had her shine right now. So I feel like EO should get pushed. But right now, when Rhea came out, Raquel and Rhea should have been more by the barricade. But Liv grabbed the hair by Rhea. Rhea just smacked the living shit out of her like, Liv, fuck out of here. Boom. The ref saw that and disqualified. In my head, I don't understand how does that mean a disqualification and Liv should win when technically like, yo, ref, did you not see that Raquel's been going through this? Raquel has been literally stopping Io, and you're gonna disqualify Rhea and then give Io the win. I mean, give Liv to the win. Okay, but then I love the way upsetness that Io Sky was. She gave the upsetness to Rhea, like, hey, why you get into this and everything? Walk off. She sell the shoulder pain and everything. But now I'm curious to see next week. Are we gonna get a Adam Pierce in the background talking to Io Sky? Are we gonna get Io Sky trying to be like, hey, I want another chance. You saw what happened last week. I need my rematch. I need my redemption. Is that how she gets in to still put Liv for the star power in Toronto? Sell some tickets. Then probably that's why, and also have Io Sky. But I'm curious to see how's her journey. Because look, Chan, when it comes to journey, I'm here for it. I was here for Cody for 2 fucking years, so I'm definitely here for the journey. I read One Piece. For any of my manga reader or weebs, I'm here for the journey. But for Io Sky to go through this in this next couple weeks to get to WrestleMania, I'm curious to see if this execution will be right. So now, Drop, I'm done speaking. I'm curious to see your theory and your thoughts, because me and Walkers was curious about this. Like, hey, Drop's gonna be upset. He's an Io Sky fan. But you say you wasn't that. Tell me why.
So here's the thing. My initial reaction, I was upset until I took some time to understand the situation, because they obviously shoot these post angle little things like towards the end of the match for a reason, because you obviously know, if you've seen Io and Rhea, they're friends with one another. They always have each other's back. You even saw during War Games, as soon as they won the match, Io jumped into Rhea's arms and they were celebrating together. So obviously, the both of those girls are very close. So when they shot that angle, because I saw the transcript of it, of what Io said. She was upset, saying, you know, this was my shot at WrestleMania. I really wanted to go. This was my only opportunity. How come you did that? So to me, they're trying to really play off this whole friendship angle, and they're trying to tell a underdog story with Io, even though she doesn't necessarily need it because we already know she's great. But they're trying to play this underdog story with Io, where it comes to her climbing to the top to get to where she needs to be, which is obviously the end goal is Io versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That's the end goal, and that's why they're telling this underdog story with Io Sky. So when I looked at it like that, what's the next step? Because you obviously saw Rhea Ripley feeling guilt because of what happened. And also to answer your question about why Liv won the match, whoever attacks the competitor in the match, if it's outside interference, that person automatically wins the match. So if Rhea did the exact same thing to Io would win the match. So
damn, Rhea, you should attack Io there. Fuck.
Yeah. So that would have just been the easy way to build the story. But the thing is, what I'm expecting to happen next throughout these past couple weeks building up to the Elimination Chamber, I'm expecting Rhea to go to Adam Pearce to try to see if she can get Io another shot to get into the Elimination Chamber. And I feel like this is probably going to take place once we get closer to the Elimination Chamber. So it's probably going to be one of those things where it's like last chance you get in. So you're going to have the competitors that didn't win their matches get involved in that last chance to get in. And then you're going to have Io come out on top, and then she's going to be able to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. So the end goal, of course, is for her to win and then head to WrestleMania with Rhea Ripley. So that's what they're trying to do, because they're obviously aware, because they even posted it online, when it came to Roxanne, Io, and Liv Morgan, there was backstage saying that they were really proud how long they lasted in the Rumble, and Triple H loves Io Sky. That's one of his girls, just like Asuka back in the Black and Gold days. So obviously he always has a special place for those people that he put under his wing and helped grow them to be the talent that they are now. So that's the direction I'm expecting to happen. So throughout these weeks, you're going to have the other qualifying matches take place. And then you're going to have Rhea Ripley feeling guilty to getting Io another shot to get into the chamber. That's what I'm expecting to happen, because you also have to keep in mind as well, if they really wanted to push this whole narrative of Liv Morgan going over Io Sky, they wouldn't have protected Io in this situation. They would have just had Liv Morgan straight up pin Io or straight up submit Io. Io wasn't touched at all. They did this whole disqualification.
That is true.
And they did this whole disqualification angle for a reason, to keep her protected to this moment that they're going to be building to with Io. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm curious to see what the end result's going to be. I don't know if Io's going to turn heel after she gets what she wants, or it's going to be one of those things where they just remain neutral for one another. I'm not entirely sure. If it was up to me, I would just let them talk their shit and just go into WrestleMania and put on a great match. And I'm not really upset if Io doesn't necessarily win that match or not. I just want her to be put into that card because she deserves it to be in that position. If she wins, I mean, hey, that's great, because obviously I would love that, but that's the direction I'm expecting this to go, and that's why I'm not really worried. And also, you have to keep in mind as well, because WWE loves doing this shit all the time, so throughout the build-up to Mania, pay attention to the camera angles, because as soon as they shot Io and Rhea in the ring, you had the WrestleMania 41 Vegas sign right in the background, because they're obviously going to use that as footage once they start putting those video packages together for their matches. So that's why I'm not necessarily worried, because I'm expecting them to go down that direction. And again, they wouldn't have as much interactions with each other if they weren't going to do a thing. And that's also another reason why I'm going to dismiss that whole Bianca and Rhea Ripley rumor that supposedly is going to happen, because I feel like that might be a reason why they're prolonging the Jade return, so they could insert Bianca in a program to keep her separate from Rhea Ripley for a while. But yeah, that's my overall theory when it comes to the next direction for Io. So us Io Sky fans probably gonna have to be patient for a few weeks, but I am pretty confident she's gonna get in because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to really predict an Elimination Chamber match, especially with somebody as athletic as Io going all around that chamber match. It's kind of hard to protect her. It's kind of hard to see her not in that match.
Yeah, it's hard not to like she's been in every War Games. She's been having every Money in the Bank, I believe she's been part of. So
War
it's
games
great
too.
opportunities. Yeah, so it's great opportunity to see her do all her things. So Chambers, like drops it. Great theory. I support it. I'm here for it. I'm nothing to say or nothing to add other than I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the ride. And if Triple H, if I trust you and I'm okay with Jey Uso, I question you, Charlotte Flair. We can about to get into the conversation momentarily, chat. But I'm here for it. So, Io
Mhm.
Sky, hopefully we'll see you in WrestleMania. If not, we're gonna see who gets it at the Elimination Chamber a month from now. There may be a sidecast as well. Me and Watkins did announce, and this past Saturday there may be a sidecast. So also stay tuned for that, chat. Other than that, what's next?
So now we get to our main event of the evening, which is Sami Zayn versus CM Punk, which is another one of those dream matches that you could scratch off your little notepad when it came to CM Punk's return to WWE. Because whenever somebody comes back to the company, a lot of people like putting a little list together of potential matches. I mean, I already saw of AJ Styles moving to Raw. People were saying AJ Styles versus Penta, AJ Styles versus Gunther, running him and Seth back, CM Punk. So obviously, CM Punk and Sami Zayn was a match that a lot of people wanted to see, and there's also a lot of history behind it, based on at least based on what we saw when Punk was cutting his promo, calling everybody out, putting them under the rug when they were building to the Royal Rumble, saying Sami Zayn isn't on his level, and then Sami Zayn
Mm-hmm.
feeding into that the following week, calling Punk out on his actions, and now finally getting the match tonight. This was a great match, and it goes to show again that CM Punk still has a lot left in the tank. He was able to keep up with Sami Zayn throughout this match, so I really did enjoy it. I loved how well they worked together. There was a lot of close calls. The crowd was really into this match, which I really appreciated. Which again, this is why it's nice to have crowds invested in the product, because you're obviously paying money to go there, so you have to get the best experience that you can, because there's not every day you can say that you're going to see CM Punk and Sami Zayn in a main event, especially competing at this level when it comes to their Elimination Chamber match. But before we get into like the whole match itself, we did see Sami a little bit earlier where he thought he had the Rumble, but he didn't. And I'm just going to throw in my pick for next year's Rumble because it is taking place in Saudi. Sami Zayn is 100. I'm confident Sami Zayn's winning the Rumble next year. This is obviously going to be a conversation we'll talk about throughout the year, but I'm pretty confident Sami's going to get his moment. But again, there's always other roads to WrestleMania. But we do see Punk back. Not Punk. We see him and Jay talk backstage, which obviously you were really curious to see, like, how does Sami feel about Jay winning the Royal Rumble? Because there was a moment within that match itself that Jay super kicked Sami, eliminated him. Is Sami gonna go start charging towards Jay? Is he gonna start giving him a lot of shit? No, he actually congratulated him. He was saying that he deserved it, which, like Vash said, we will dive into that as soon as we go over these matches. And we got a little moment there. And again, we're seeing Cross getting involved, which I really like, because the whole point of Cross is that he's really trying to elevate certain people in WWE when it comes to the interactions that they have with them. Like, he's really trying to bring the best out of their characters, and we've seen it with multiple people before. When it came to Rey Mysterio finally standing up to Dom, when it came to Drew McIntyre becoming the person that he is now, seeing AJ Styles turn into the person that he was before once Cross was having interactions with him, Shinsuke Nakamura, the list goes on and on. If you guys have been following Cross, you know the sort of effect that he has on people. So that's a little story arc there. I don't see that as a WrestleMania match, like a lot of people are saying. It's just to help evolve Sammy's character a little bit
Oh,
more.
should people saying that really? Oh.
Yeah, they are, but he has these sort of interactions with people all the time. So I just think it's one of those things where he's just trying to help evolve that character even further to the next level. I mean, you even saw him with Seth in the background, hasn't really interacted with Seth, but you could easily tell that's definitely playing into a character change with Seth, especially with the sort of
Yep.
actions that he had at the Royal Rumble.
If I may add real quick about the carrying cross stuff, I do love that his character and the tone of shift in his acting as well. For those that haven't noticed, even when Sammy said that if we need to fight, Karen Cross added to say like he's like, hey, that's different. If you want to square up, he went closer, chin up, chin tightened. So I love the acting in that switch up to Karen Cross' character, and that he's ready if he needs to put the boots and go to the ring. So that's one thing I appreciate for Karen Cross. His character's been very consistent since he got hired back with Scarlett back, I think, 4 years ago now. So it's a great addition to see him really grow with the fans slowly, organically, and also having that slow, what's the word? Instigating to all the people he interacts and gives them a tone shift. So that's also appreciated to his character.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And I'm honestly liking him being on his own with Scarlett, doing his own thing, keeping him separate from the whole Final Testament thing. I'm hoping this is the path that we keep him on because I don't really think he needs the Final Testament anymore. It was a project he tried to see where it could go, didn't really work. Put them in the tag division because that's what you really need to do. Start focusing on tag division, on Rawls, and just have Cross continue doing what he's doing. But we do see Seth take place, which ends up leading to the match with Punk and Sammy. Well, Seth's in the ring. He congratulates Jay. He was, poking fun at Punk losing. He was poking fun at Roman losing, which I know there's a lot of speculation in the community of a potential triple threat between Seth, Punk, and Roman. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that because I'm okay with triple threats when they make sense. I mean, just looking at the sort of reaction that Seth had with Roman at the Rumble, I would assume it would probably be better to do a match between them, but we don't really know what's going on yet. I mean, obviously, him and Punk got into a little thing when Seth was going up the ramp, but we'll see where things go. But we see that, there's many tickets to Mania and that he's going to face Finn, like I mentioned earlier, the Elimination Chamber. In the qualifying matches, you qualify with the Elimination Chamber. And Sammy came out. Seth is really trying to push the narrative of Sammy pretty much coming out and saying how much he hates CM Punk. We ended up seeing Punk and Seth have a little thing. And this match was great, like I said. There's a lot of stiff chops. Punk was targeting Sammy's arm, and he put the Anaconda Vice. I think this might have been, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can remember, because Punk hasn't participated in a lot of one-on-one matches. He's been in the Royal Rumble when he came back initially, and then he had that whole feud with Jade. I mean, not Jay, Drew. So it's I feel like this might have been the first time I've seen him apply the Anaconda Vice since he came
I believe
back.
this was the first time because even Watkins brought it up. He did call it the Anaconda Vice, so it was nice to see. I think he tried to do it once in a previous match, but he didn't execute it. So then he didn't try to do it again, if I remember correctly. But that may be just maybe imagining it. Well,
he definitely had it on there for long though, because I mean,
yeah, he had it there for I think 25 seconds or for a good minute almost, because they went around in the middle of the ring, and then Sammy had to reach with his, I believe, left or right leg to touch a rope, so it got released. So he had it for quite a while.
Yeah. And also it fits very well. Once a snake gets a hold of you, they don't let that grip go. So the Anaconda Vice definitely is a very that's also CM Punk's submission move that he's been using for years, but it fits the name because once a snake gets a hold of you, they don't let go. They don't let
Yeah,
go
very
until they
good.
praise last breath, and that hold was flat on there pretty tight.
It did. Right before we continue with the match, if I may add a good 2 cents on real quick about the Seth and Sami stuff. I really love how Seth was very open and positive about Jay winning, but most important about Seth supporting Sami and still fueling the fire of his hatred towards CM Punk, saying the same thing that he's a cancer to the business. We cannot have him go be at the Elimination Chamber. But now I wonder if Seth is going to be mad at Sami that every time he gets a task, he doesn't, shoot the shot. He always misses. A quick reference to Carmelo Hayes in that aspect. So I wonder if Seth is also going to be upset with Sami next week. It's like, damn, you get the opportunity, you keep missing, you keep not getting a shot. So technically, Karrion Kross is right about that as well. That Sami is not being selfish for himself, and we're not yet into the event that happens with KO. But I love that Seth was very supportive for Sami to be like, hey, you could get this. I'll meet you at the Elimination Chamber. That's really dope to see. That was also really great to see. And the conversation with Sami and Jay, I really love that. They give each other a hug. It's always cool to see the handshake. Like that's always a pleasure to see that happen. Like I love it that they still have that bromance, that brotherly love. So that's really dope to see.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I was just applying to EO Sky on Twitter as you were talking because she put out a tweet 12:04 a.m. saying you'll get your match. I mean, she says I have no words, and I just told her that she'll get her match at Rhea. I told her I believed in her, and she deserves to be on top of the card just like all the rest of the girls.
Amateur, as you should. But like, would you agree to what I said, like about the Seth, being as supportive, or do you think that
Oh,
he'll be upset with Sami and
he
have any comments to him next week in a
he,
promo?
he probably will because Seth's been on this whole trend where he's been like brutally honest with Sami lately.
Yes, he has.
Especially when it comes to like when things don't end up going in his favor, because obviously, whenever somebody gets a win over over CM Punk, he's going to be super happy about it. But if you paid attention to the whole entire thing that's been going on with Seth Rollins and Sami, he's always been putting them down, which again, this is why I mentioned Karrion Kross fitting into the whole character build with Sami Zayn, because it's going to come to a point where Sami Zayn is just going to have to break out and he's going to have to become that next stage of his character. And obviously what we saw towards the end of the night is probably the building stages towards that. But this match went into CM Punk's favor. He almost gets hit with the hula kick, but he counters it with the GPS he had to do it a couple times, but he finally got it in. Because there was part of me thinking, CM Punk seems too confident in this. It's going to go over his head. But it's kind of hard not to have CM Punk in this match. This is a CM Punk match. Comes Elimination Chamber. But CM Punk does hit the GTS. He gets the win. And after the match, they do show some good sportsmanship, which I really appreciated.
Which I'm so happy Sami actually gave the handshake. I thought Sami wasn't gonna give the handshake, and I thought we are gonna see a little turn heel of Sami.
Yeah.
But instead of seeing that, we saw his head hit the ground. But one thing that it was appreciated about Sami in this match, that he got the. This remind me of the Cody and Brock Lesnar of last year, where Brock gave him the handshake in the dab. It's the same thing with CM Punk. Like, he was impressed by Sami. Like, yo, you did better than expected. I'm not sure if now he's like CM Punk says, you're at my level. But it was enough to give the handshake to him because it was a good match. Even 2 times. I don't know about you, Drop, but I thought Sami was gonna take it 2 times after he did the Blue Thunder. I thought Sami had it.
Yeah, that's how I felt several times when I was watching this, but
Right?
I'm pretty confident. I mean, I might as well get into it now. We got Kevin Owens showing up towards the end of the match, because obviously we were expecting this to come up eventually, because the whole story going into Cody and KO's match was the fact that KO was really pushing for Sami to be there for him, to help him win the big one, so Kevin Owens could give Sami Zayn that match if Sami Zayn won the Rumble, so those two can go at it at WrestleMania. But Sami just stood there, didn't do anything. Obviously, even though Kevin Owens was unconscious at the time, he didn't see Sami try to go in there, throw off Cody, try to help him up, try to help him get back in the ring, put a Blue Thunder Bomb on Cody, a Ludwig kick. None of that happened. He just stood there and watched like he was a lost soul. And we see Kevin Owens hit a
The
package
most
pile
blackest
driver.
eye on KO.
Yeah.
Jeez, did you see that drop? The
Yeah.
most, that whole eye, and the way KO sold him not having great balance, him just being so
Yeah.
pissed. Like, I just felt like he was seeing red. Like, I just felt like he just acted so well in like just being angry at Sami. Like, you son of a bitch, you could have helped us be there, but no. I just love it.
Mm-hmm. And that's just the effects of a crazy ladder match, and he's selling the effects of it, which is nice. But we see Kevin Owens hit Sami with a package pile driver, and he was stretched out towards the end of the show, I heard. And this is just building into a story for Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And this can go in two directions, really. I'm sort of leaning towards the first one rather than the second, which is both
at
of
Toronto.
them. Yeah, both of them having a match in Canada, because they're both from Canada, and it's very fitting if you really want to lock these two in a match at the Elimination Chamber, because outside of the two Elimination Chamber matches for the ladies and the men, you got to add something else to the card. These two guys are loved by the fans. They're already teasing some inner turmoil between both of these guys, so I could definitely see this taking place at the Elimination Chamber when it comes to this match, because you'll also have to open up the door for Randy when he comes back too, because you can't leave Randy off of the...
That's a good point.
Can't leave Randy
My
off of the
question
main
for you,
card.
Drop. So, we spoke about the power driver. We spoke about it. This is my question for you. As somebody who got back into pro wrestling back 2 years ago, in 2025, I got back in 2023, early in the year. But before that, we have seen the video package when KO had a feud with Grayson Waller, that the people that KO has betrayed. Sami has been twice of them. How is this a third time now of this feud of Sami and KO that we're building up now in the new eyes of the pro wrestling, of the bigger and bigger on streaming on Netflix, to where we have this new story, this new version? How do you think that this will elevate compared to the past two feuds when KO betrayed Sami? As somebody who hasn't seen them, I've seen them in video packages, in clips, but have not seen the build up or their feud or the results. Compared to this, are you excited as somebody that has been seeing this look good?
I'm curious to see like how they're gonna build around it. I can't really say if it's gonna be at that level yet, because we haven't really seen it play out.
Mm-hmm.
But based on what we're seeing so far, it seems like they're going down a pretty good path. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens beyond that point. So that's something I'm very curious to see when it comes to that. Because obviously you're going to have KO coming out on SmackDown, probably talking a lot of shit. Possibly come on Raw, talk a lot of shit. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens beyond this point. But this is definitely the next direction for Kevin Owens. And like I mentioned earlier, after that match, you're going to have to factor Randy Orton in, because you can't leave Randy Orton off the WrestleMania card. And obviously Randy Orton is selling the effects of that package pile driver really well, because he has a bad back. So obviously he's trying to sell that for a reason. But you also have some unfinished business between the both of them too. So I'm sort of predicting maybe at Canada you get Randy Orton coming back, and then you start kicking things into gear heading into WrestleMania when it comes to the both of them. But this should I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like what other things they're gonna throw in here to tell this story even
Okay.
further.
So I see the big vision because you're saying that we're gonna lead up to of Elimination Chamber, KO and Sammy,
Hmm.
and then Randy Orton will get into this. So you think that KO will go over Sammy in that match, or Sammy will go over because Randy caused it to KO to lose, and then we're gonna get KO to Randy build up at WrestleMania?
I could definitely see Sammy winning the match, especially if you're trying to push this whole new character for him.
Yeah, and then have him build up over the next 8 months so he could win the Royal Rumble next year at Saudi. So Sammy should go over, and then KO will lose because of Randy interrupting, and then they could build their match at WrestleMania.
Hmm.
I see that. I see the vision, and I'm okay with this.
So next we actually have one out of the two that we'll discuss throughout the night when it comes to the Royal Rumble winners, because it was announced over the weekend that Jay was going to appear on Monday Night Raw to address the audience. Big shocker there. We did not expect that all in the slightest. But we had Jay Uso come out here like he normally does from the crowd. He gets down to the ring and we see a whole chorus of yeets. And it was a very, very
That's just one,
like,
two. We got some encore guys.
yeah, it
Encore.
was a very powerful moment. And it does remind me of the whole Yes movement, the whole movement when it came to Kofi Mania. It could potentially almost be up there with the Yes movement too, because these are some pretty crazy reactions. Like they were loud. I thought like my speakers are too loud when I was watching this, but no, that was the initial reaction to the
The
crowd.
crowd was insane. It was fucking beautiful. I was watching Watkins have how we were yeeting with the music. We were on top of it. The camera, the production, they show a few of the fans. A lot of them were kids, just with the signs, just going hectic with it, showing the motion. Even Watkins brought up of a kid online over the weekend that already him from the heart as a fan, a Juice fan. They even said that Juice was gonna win the Royal Rumble, and the father or the parent or the guardian was recording their child and just seeing the reaction of this kid, just seeing their chosen one, the Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso got out, push off John Cena, and it's just seeing somebody like you said, drop the Yes moment, the Kofi moment. You know what sucks? I wasn't there for neither of them because I heard about them during those times. It happened when I wasn't watching pro wrestling consistently. I knew about them. I saw, I believe the WrestleMania, but I didn't see the journey. Not being part of this journey for Jey Uso, it's fucking exciting. Like I'm here for it. I'm a Jey Uso fan. Anytime Jey Uso was gonna win or get an opportunity, I kept rooting and voting for Jey to win. And I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the journey. If anybody hasn't been here for the journey since the pandemic, that he's been going after Roman Reigns for the title, that he has promos for the title. He literally has told Cody, literally has told other people that he is meant for something. He even cried during this fucking emotional moment. Tears are coming. It felt genuine. Fucking
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, that's what I love about it, because one of the things that WWE didn't really do back then is strike when the iron is hot, because there was a lot of people over the years that were really over organically, not forced, but organically. And WWE never really capitalized on it because back then they only pushed their certain top guys, the ones that they had in mind that,
And always consistently. The same ones.
yeah, it was always the same people all the time. It wasn't that one individual that just broke out on their own, got organically over. So they just missed the opportunity with that, and it just goes nowhere. But now, since we're in a new era and they're paying attention to what people are saying online and just focusing on like how Jey Uso is over with the crowd, he's making them a lot of money when it comes to merch, which definitely plays into the decision of him winning the Royal Rumble, I will say, because you only get moments like this every once in a while. So if you have this guy connecting with the crowd, he's organically over. He's making him a lot of money when it comes to all these shirts that come out, or his glasses, or whatever the case may be. If you really have somebody out there that's really connecting with the crowd like that, and you see him getting emotional in the middle of the ring, and this was like genuine emotion.
Oh hell
You
yeah.
saw him getting emotional because he probably thought that he was just going to be looked at Jey Uso, the brother of Jimmy Uso, just the Usos tag team. Because when he initially came into WWE, him and Jimmy had like this little Samoan paint. I'm not entirely sure if you saw them all those years ago, but
Oh, I did.
that
I was
they
still there during those times when they danced with Rikishi and everything
yeah.
in the ring. I was still there.
Yeah, imagine those guys being in the position that they are now, especially when it comes to the whole label of, oh, you're gonna be. He even said in his promo, he's like, oh, you're always gonna be a tag team wrestler. You're never gonna make the big one. You're never gonna be main event talent. You don't deserve to win the Royal Rumble. You know, stuff like that. So it's nice that WWE capitalized on this, and this is also another reason why I appreciated the Royal Rumble winner this year, because it was actually somebody that was unpredictable. Because if you think about it like this,
Yes.
as much as it was John Cena's last Rumble, I wouldn't really be that big of a fan of him winning because it just seems like that's just too easy to get to 17. You got all
Yeah.
year to tell that story. The whole story is to chase to 17, not to get a lottery ticket and book your match at WrestleMania against a Cody or a Gunther. So Cena didn't really make any sense. And I will say that I was a fan of, Punk potentially winning, but obviously you got that favor intact, and there's definitely different directions that Punk can go down for him to eventually have that favor take effect so he can get to where he wants. And then you got other people like Roman Reigns who wants to come back and get his title, Drew McIntyre, making sure the bloodline doesn't get their way again and getting his shot at the title again. There's a lot of convincing stories in there. And Jey Uso was like a dark horse because a lot of people thinking they're not going to give it to Jey Uso. Sure, he'll get a good showing. Sure, he might be in like the final 4, final 5, whatever, but that's not going to happen. Once you saw Roman and Seth take place, and you saw Punk get out of there, it really did come out to 2 of them, and I'm glad that they did a unpredictable outcome and they had Jey Uso win, because they don't normally do that. It's normally very predictable when it comes to the sort of direction that they're going down when it comes to these rumbles. It's been a pretty consistent theme. When it makes sense and it happens, that's fine. But for the most part, it's usually like always a very predictable thing. Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. But it's like,
sorry, chat. I'm just having fun with it because I
Yeah.
can't afford to break it down more.
Yeah.
But Draft said it perfectly. Like Marco Host keeps hitting it on the nail about the Jey Uso being the person he worked for it, even being Rikishi's son and everything, and being part of the Samoan family. He is shooting for the star. He said it during his promo. He worked for it. Anything that Vince back in the day, anything that Triple H told him, he worked for it. He took the loss. He earned it. He waited for the right opportunity, and he waited for that one shot, and he hit the fucking golden ticket. And now he's going to main event WrestleMania. Is he gonna go after Cody? Is he gonna go after Gunther? Or is he gonna go after Obafemi? Because it seems like people with this golden ticket could go for NXT title. But hey, I'm not throwing shit against anybody. But hey, so when it comes to Jey Uso being the person right now, I love it. I'm here for it. I wasn't here for the train, for the hype train of Daniel Bryan or for Kofi Kingston, but I'm fucking here for the train of Yeet Mania, Yeet Land. I saw the posters. I don't know which one people's going to choose, but I'm here for Yeet Mania. That's definitely going to sell tickets, sell shirts, and merch. That is going to be literally something Yeet Mania. I'm literally saying it, and I know I'm seeing the vision, the shirts. I'm seeing the bands, the hats is going to be marketing and merch.
Yep.
And one thing that Watkins said, they had this plan. I believe Triple H said that he has this plan already since November, December for the WrestleMania bookings. So that means they had Jey Uso already main eventing since then. And also, Why wouldn't you want the face of fucking Monday Night Raw to be Jey Uso? He's so over. We had two fucking Jay concerts. We literally had him back to back. The crowd even said Encore. Since when did we get this? Since when have we had a song of a superstar, of a pro wrestler to actually be questioned more than once and requested? He even told the production team, we're gonna run it back one more fucking time. Drop,
Yep.
you've been watching this more consistent than me. Has this happened since in the recent years that they asked a superstar song to be played again?
Not all the time.
It's insane. It's insane, and I'm so happy for it. Jay earned it, and I'm
He
here
did.
for this train. And look, chat, I'm gonna tell right now because, like the rest of the chat, is when it comes to who's he choosing, I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be fucking Gunther, and it should be
Makes the most
because you
sense.
know it makes the most sense. Yes, it would be awesome to see Cody, but you know what? We are gonna get Cody in the future. Jay versus Cody is gonna happen down the line, but not right now because Cody needs somebody else, and that's the person whoever's gonna win at the Elimination Chamber. Could it be CM Punk? Could it be any other four superstars that are gonna join, or John Cena? But you know why, Gunther? Because wouldn't it be great? Do you actually fight the guy that's been beating you 2 times already?
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be good, deserving to finally take that win? As somebody who has an older sibling that's watching right now, and sometimes when you lose 5-1 against your older brother, that 1-6 win, I mean that 1-6 match, but you won, it takes like that icing on the cake. You be
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, brother, you beat me 5 times, but shit, that sixth battle we had just now, that one, it had me on the ropes, and I'm glad I won. It feels that fucking accomplishment. So for
Mhm.
Jay, for the story, for everyone to be on top of it, like Watkins brought up in the chat, story is king in WWE. Io's journey is gonna be a bit rough one, but for Jay, it's gonna be a sweet one. So I'm here for it, and Jay deserves this.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I mean, I get the whole thing where a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, we've seen him and Gunther, run it back multiple times. He's had multiple shots at Gunther when it came to all of their matches." But the whole point of the story is to eventually get that win. Like Vash said in its example, it's like you're playing video games with your brother. Your brother always comes up on top. He always ends up winning every single match. You want there to be that one match where you're the winner. You want to be that one match where you come out on top and you finally have that win done under your belt so you can put it to rest and have a good night's sleep. When it comes to Jey Uso, his mission is to put down Gunther once and for all. It's like that roadblock. Jey Uso, he won the Royal Rumble, he earned it. He can't get to that next level that he's been wanting to achieve throughout his career without getting through Gunther. So that's why I never really understood the whole Cody narrative, because it all stemmed from Roman Reigns. When Roman Reigns built that relationship with Jay when the Bloodline story initially started, and then you saw throughout time, Jay was little by little squeezing himself out of it. He even mentioned the whole Bloodline thing in his promo today. And it wasn't until that moment where Jay turned on Roman where he really broke out. And then also you had the whole Yeet thing become when him and Cody became a tag team. But at the end of the day, it was that whole thing between him and Roman that really broke him out to be where he is. That was the whole story when him and Roman got back together, telling Roman
Yep.
that he became this new person since he left. It all stemmed from Roman, and Roman's there to help his family, to put them on another level. Look what Roman was able to lead Jay throughout that story. So him finally putting in the nail in the coffin with Gunther, I get the whole thing about we have already seen it, but that's the story. That's the story that we're heading in here. If you think about him choosing Cody, I mean, what really is there? Oh, it's because the whole narrative of Cody, losing his friends and everything like that. It's like how it doesn't really make sense just to throw that there. Like that doesn't like scream. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's like it's almost like you got to really figure out a story that really makes sense to have the whole Cody thing be a thing, because I feel like at this moment it only works out well with what's going on with Kevin Owens, and obviously if you tap into that with Randy Orton whenever he comes back, because for all we know, Randy Orton could be watching behind the scenes of what's going on between Kevin Owens and Cody, and maybe it start clicking in his head where he's like, maybe this whole shit going on with Cody where he's spiraling out of control, maybe I'm starting to get some sense of it because he's been with them for the most. He hasn't really been around Jay for a while. And that's why Jay and Gunther, they've been around each other for so long. And if it was me, just like when you're playing video games, you keep dying to that fucking boss. You want to eventually beat that fucking boss.
Yes, I've been there. I'm still stuck on Kingdom Hearts boss.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back for that reason.
Yeah, you eventually want to beat that boss, and you want to move on and complete the game. And the whole point of this is to create a moment. So if Gunther has to put over Jay, it's not going to do anything to him. Gunther's bulletproof.
doesn't.
He's fine.
Chat. What have we heard every fucking time from Michael Cole when it comes to the statistics? That 80% of fucking Gunther's career in WWE has been champion. Him losing it to Jay, when I heard his momentum, has he lost momentum because of booking right now as champion? Yes. Is that Triple H fault or the writer's fault? Yes. But that's not Gunther's fault. That's the booking on them planning around a 3-hour show, 2.5 show. They're doing better now on presenting Gunther. They have their flaws. They're still getting the right rhythm. So you cannot blame on Gunther. He still's good. He still knows how to hold the crowd. He still makes them react. He knows how to get them.
Yeah.
And he has promo with Jay, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. He's still successful. He's still main eventing. So as much as when it comes to fans, shut the fuck up, put your panties in a bunch, because god damn, Gunther losing in WrestleMania is gonna happen. He had lost to Sami last year, and guess what? Didn't Sami lose to Gunther like 3 times prior to that? And then Sami won over this, and it was an underdog story. Guess what? Round 2, but now for a bigger title.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're throwing that argument around, that's a good you brought that up. If you're using that as a comparison, then you should completely be on board with this whole Gunther thing, because we got that with Sami and Gunther last year. So it's pretty much the same story that we're telling. Obviously, different narrative depending on how you write it, but it's like it's pretty much the same thing. And it's like even Gunther said when he came out, if Jay chooses him, because obviously we'll see Gunther. I mean, obviously we'll see Jay and Cody on Friday, because it did say Cody's going to be there on Friday. Because, they always tend to do this thing where it's like, okay, I got to choose who I'm going to go after. Like, Charlotte hasn't chose Tiffany yet, but we know that's the goal. But it's just a typical thing WWE does where it's like, okay, I got Raw to go to, I got SmackDown to go to, I got NXT to go to, which you can't really put that down because they have done that before. But that's another discussion for another day. But pretty much what I'm trying to say right there is that Gunther brought up something too, where he says to Jay, if he chooses him, then it would be the most violent thing in Mania history. So what I take from that, what Gunther says, this might be Jay's best match when it comes.
Ooh, and I hope so. Because people have been mad about his spears lately, and there's some spears that's been good, some off ones, but I hope, like, Jay's been improving his work. This man he literally has been posting screenshots or pictures on his IG store of him at the gym. He's been putting the work. He's been consistent. He knows that he's now becoming the face, so he has to. He knows he probably texts Cody, yo, hey, what's your schedule like? So I could be prepared. Or he probably talks to Gunther and be like, yo, so how's this? So he could be prepared for these things. People are preparing him for what is the spotlight is. And I know Jay is fucking ready. And I'm excited for this journey. Because I'm here for this journey. I'm here for Yeet Mania. And I know Jay is going to do it well. And do you think, last question about the segment before we move on to the big one. Do you think Gunther and Jay will have a stipulation, since Gunther said that this would be one of the brutal matches and this would be the third one, I believe?
It's possible. I mean, if you want to spice it up and make it even more intense,
I hope so.
I hope
so. It'll be like a last man standing, or like something between the line for WrestleMania.
It
will feel more, exactly. It will add some color to it. So more, because if this is your third match and your second match for the world title, it will book the ending so well.
Yeah, it's like the end of the feud. It's kind of like, okay, this is the final battle between the both of this. This is when we're gonna settle our differences, like, once and for all. So and the reason why I brought up the whole violent thing as well is because when Gunther did say that, it just makes me think like he's gonna make Jay look very good. Because Gunther's a great performer, he's a great wrestler. This isn't gonna be the last title run he's gonna have. He's gonna have a lot of world championships under his belt. But Gunther's gonna make Jay look very good in this match when it comes to the whole, like, just the whole feel of the match when it comes to the lengths that they're gonna go to really have that moment hit hard once Jay beats him. And I'm not expecting it to be an emotional match. I'm expecting it to be an intense match. And we're in the early stages. We got this month. We got March. We got a little bit of April. It's like a good 3 months that we could bleed into this. Well, technically 2. But you get, actually, no, not necessarily, because they've been involved with each other. But you get what I mean. They have some good amount of time to like really tell a very compelling story.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see where it goes. We spoke enough. We told the chat. We spoke them the
Very
honesty. We exactly, great convo. It was very organic, and we spoke. We threw pop some shots to the IWC and the fans, and it shows that sometimes you don't always gotta listen to what the online says, because if the fucking crowd tells you encore, it tells you you're over, and tells you they made the right choice. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely, for sure.
But when they boo somebody, what do? Drop?
So this next discussion is actually going to be pretty interesting, because I mentioned earlier, I enjoyed it. Why did I enjoy it? We'll dive into that exactly once we fully get into it. But like I mentioned earlier, we had 2 of our Royal Rumble winners hopping onto the show. We obviously discussed Jay. Charlotte was the other one, because obviously it makes sense. Charlotte won the Royal Rumble, so she has the right to go to Raw. She said she's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow. I mean, not SmackDown, NXT tomorrow. And then we're also going to see her on SmackDown as well, where we're going to get that first face-to-face between her and Tiffany. And we obviously saw a lot of the backlash when it came to Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble. I'm not going to really dive into it, because we already shared our overall thoughts for our Royal Rumble review. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to do so. I don't really want to reiterate anything like that, because I might as well just clip myself from that review if I'm going to be repeating the same shit I said there. But we saw her come out, and Charlotte, she comes in there, and she's pretty much trying to tell her whole journey when she was gone, because Charlotte Flair, I am a fan of her. I've always loved Charlotte. It's just over the years when it came to the booking, it did get a little bit repetitive. But when it came to this moment in the ring, the reason why I liked it is because I'm hoping they take advantage of what's going on right now. Because remember The Rock last year? The Rock probably thought in his head, oh, when I came back, I'm The Rock. Everybody's going to be cheering me no matter what.
Thank you.
Cody Rhodes.
I said that as well in the sidecast.
Cody Rhodes did the unthinkable, because never in a million years did I expect The Rock to get booed, to get eggs thrown at him, tomatoes. Cody Rhodes, out of all people, and I'm not taking anything away from him, because I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan.
Yep.
But Cody, out of all people, made the fans turn on The Rock, and that's fucking crazy. So that's unheard of. So the reason why I said I'm hoping they take advantage of this is because The Rock did, and it worked out in his favor. And a lot of people agree this potentially could have been the best version of The Rock that we've seen in a long time when it came to the Final Boss character. The Final Boss character was great. And
is this where we will get the heel Charlotte that and Walk has been?
That's what I'm leaning towards, because she came out here expecting a lot of people to feel sympathy for her, because she's been away for so long. She was rehabbing, trying to regain her strength to come back, because Charlotte's always been here. She's never gone. She's always been here. So it was a little weird seeing her gone for like a year. And I expect them to like fully embrace it, because that's honestly the best thing to do. Especially when it was reported that, she's going to have this whole Top Girl gimmick. And we've seen her merch where like it shows a picture of her on the shirt and it has like Top Girl on there. So to me, that tells me that, okay, you're going to brag, you're going to say how good you are, what you achieved. And what did she do in this promo? She was saying how she's one of the best of this generation. She's the greatest thing that ever happened. No matter if you boo or cheer me, I'm still here, etc. So on. So that's a good thing to do, because if you really want the audience behind you in that favor, you take advantage of that and you flip it and you tell a good story. You prove why you're a top girl, because we all know she's going to choose Tiffany. So when you go up to Tiffany, you could have the Charlotte Flair,
The Tiffy top.
Yeah, you could have the Charlotte Flair go up to her that I've known to be the best version of her, which is a heel, because old Queen gimmick just screams heel. Queens brag, they think they're above everybody else. That's just how queens are. She could easily go up to Tiffany Stratton, talk her shit, saying she's a 14-time champion, she's a 2-time Royal Rumble winner. You're just a flavor of the month. You're not going to last long. And I'm here to take that title because it's rightfully mine. That's why I'm here. That's what you do with this. You get this sort of heat, you take advantage of it, and it just tells a better story, which is what I'm hoping to see with Charlotte Flair moving forward when it comes to her, finally saying she's going to choose Tiffany, because it's kind of hard when you look at, Tiffany Stratton right now, it seems like she's like a heel still, but if you look at the overall build between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, nobody's going to cheer Charlotte in that feud at all whatsoever. So as soon as Tiffany's like in front of Charlotte, the whole crowd is going to get behind Tiffany. They're going to be really pushing for Tiffany. And Tiffany's just going to have to like fully turn babyface at that point and just be behind the crowd and everything. And this is Tiffany's opportunity to really prove Charlotte wrong, that she's not the flavor of the month, that she can actually be at levels that she needs to be, which I'm honestly hoping they use this in a way to put things in the right direction that we hope they do towards the end result of this thing. But I'm really hoping that they make this a heel Charlotte Flair, which it seems like it is heading down that direction just based on her overall body language and her reaction to the crowd. So if they take this heat and they turn it into something, I'd be really happy about that. And I don't know, do you want to share any thoughts on that as well when it came to what you and Watkins spoke about?
Yeah, like Drop said earlier, you already probably saw the card here, the Royal Rumble of our results, how we felt, expression, anger, remorse. So go check that out. But when it comes to tonight, when it comes to Charlotte Flair, I'm glad she got booed. And I agree with Drop. This leads into the heel Charlotte that we got from The Rock last year to the final boss. Because if people don't know, a year ago from this week is where we had the press conference of WrestleMania, and we got into Cody Rhodes smacking The Rock and everything leading up to the final boss after that and the music. So around this month, a year ago is when all that started because of the Royal Rumble of last year. So that's the thing that people need to remember. And now if Charlotte Flair could get the nice spark that could lead into a heel Charlotte, and Tiffany, like Drop said, she will be the one that everyone will be praising for winning. And I agree. Tiffany should fucking win over Charlotte at WrestleMania if this match happens. And as somebody, because Drop, I also want to hear your opinion about this. As somebody who wasn't here for 2021, I believe, or 2019, whenever it was, when Charlotte Flair went for the Royal Rumble, she won, and went after NXT title of Rhea Ripley, and then later the domino effect happened where Io won after. However, for this time, I understand that Charlotte Flair is going after Julia tomorrow because to promote NXT, and also, the Queen is coming, so that'll be good for the ratings. Understandable. And also it's because it's on a reference, homage for what she did a couple years ago because she did it prior. But we all know, and we hope she chooses Tiffany Stratton. That's the one we're all hoping for.
Yeah.
When it comes to this promo work, it felt flat, I do say, but also it's because I think the crowd wasn't behind her and she
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that, and I think that's why, because it felt like she was a bit thrown off, and
Yeah, that it
and
definitely
like
did.
right, it did feel a bit thrown off for her to
Rock
actually
was the
be
same way
unaware of that.
too.
Yeah, it felt awkward. Me and Watkins, I believe Watkins said that she was a bit stiff.
Hmm.
So like I understand where he was coming from in that aspect because I do agree it was stiff. But I'm glad Rhea came out. It felt better. The dynamic of someone being alone and who's been probably rusty, not being in front of a crowd, and being emotional at the same time because you did miss them. Girl, she had a bad year. And if anybody has the internet, you know what happened prior a couple months ago. So she has had a rocky year. Probably she's emotional. She probably was aware. She probably said something very real that she didn't know if her knee will be back to normal for her to be a pro wrestler. So all those things that she said, 80%, 100% could have been real. But at the end of the day, the fan wasn't behind because of the results being predictable for Charlotte Flair winning. Because she could have gotten this two-time anytime. However, maybe because of her health, the knees, the surgery she has gotten, maybe that's why does she want to get this opportunity now and check off the list. So in case in the future she cannot win the Royal Rumble again, understandable. Only time will tell where years come from now where I could be like, you know what? A couple years ago I was mad about Charlotte Flair winning. Now I'm over it. However, talking about Rhea coming into the mix, great. Rhea added more to it. And I love how Rhea was cocky about it. She said, I want you to choose me. I want you to choose me. Why? So I could smash your head and win it once more, but dominate it. And I appreciated it because it felt where Rhea's like, I believe by Watkins' word was Rhea at the time was level 40, and now she's like level 70. So I love how he get that type of the video game reference of levels. So it shows that Rhea could take on Charlotte Flair and show the dominance. Because technically, right now, Charlotte Flair gave a good point. Where right now they're 1-on-1 for WrestleMania. Rhea won one last year or prior for the WrestleMania for Rhea versus Charlotte, but Charlotte won one over her for the NXT title. So I see in case Charlotte Flair does choose Rhea per se, I'm okay with it because now Rhea could go the 2-over-1. So like, hey, the 2 out of 3 matches now at WrestleMania we had that squared up. But like I said, I'm hoping for the Tiffany. But Drop, how did you feel when Rhea came in? How did you feel that additional mix? Because since we both agree, when Charlotte Flair was by herself, she was awkward. She had that awkward vibe. But now that Rhea came in, how do you feel about that? And if Tiffany doesn't get chosen, not that I give the reference of the 2-over-1 match, how do you feel about that possibility if per se it doesn't happen?
So I liked how Rhea came out mainly because it just shows the evolution of Rhea's character. Because when
Agree.
Charlotte initially came after Rhea all those years ago, you would expect her to go for a main title on the roster, but she went back down to NXT because she wanted to handle her business down there. And you got to keep in mind this was the old regime, so things were just off the walls back then when it came to the decisions that they were making around that time. But she decided to go after that NXT title. And like Rhea said, she was a kid. She was still in NXT. She was still learning the ropes. She wasn't at the level that she is now because you put this version of Rhea Ripley in the ring, like the version of Rhea Ripley that turned into this huge star after she beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania that year. This is a Rhea Ripley that's like on a whole new level. This is a Rhea Ripley that Charlotte hasn't seen before. This is a Rhea Ripley that Charlotte hasn't been in the ring with since their last encounter. So the kind of things that Charlotte would expect out of Rhea is probably a lot different. She'd be going for one move. Rhea would counter it into something that she didn't know that was in Rhea's arsenal. So it's like I like the interaction alone because it just shows the growth of Rhea, especially when you look at their first encounter compared to now. It's a whole different ball game. And the whole point of like that second match as well is for Rhea to get her win back, for Rhea to prove herself that this is the next stage of her character, and it did wonders for her career. And when it comes to another face to face, I mean, would it be cool to see? Sure, I don't see it happening because we've seen it before. Rhea already proved herself to Charlotte, so we don't really need to see it again. And then the whole thing about her going to NXT or SmackDown is just promote the whole thing that Jay's doing. I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm going to talk to that guy. We all know that they're not going to choose Julia or Rhea Ripley. So once we head to SmackDown, especially with this new version of Rhea with Charlotte's character that I'm assuming they'll go down because it's the best decision. Work with the heat you get from the crowd. It just makes things a lot better in the long run, because once you dive into how the crowd feels about you, it just makes the character that Charlotte's portraying herself feel more natural when it comes to just the kind of person that Charlotte is as a heel. So those are my thoughts on that. Initially, it was cool just to show the whole evolution of Rhea since she last came in contact with Charlotte. But again, this week should be interesting when it comes to the overall direction of what they're doing, because they do have the press conference on, so you would assume they would probably make their decision sometime soon. I'm not sure when the date is.
I believe it's sometime on the 17th, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Yeah, so they'll probably make it.
So we have some time, and you know, Charlotte Flair did end the mic work. Said, "Hey, I'll see you next Monday." We will be talking about NXT. Some releases also happened today involving NXT. We're gonna probably find out more. So, a quick plug: go check out Grappling with the Week. This coming Thursday will be episode 3 at 8:30 p.m. EST. Every time we're live. So go check that out, chat. Because yeah, go ahead. No worries. So we have NXT Grappling of the Week this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. EST. And then Friday, we have Friday Night SmackDown episode 113. And then just Thursday's Anime League podcast at 12 p.m. EST. But me and Drop, at the moment, we haven't discussed if we're doing an NXT sidecast. But that might not be possible on mine because we're recording Anime League podcast this evening on Tuesday night, so it would not be possible. However, chat, without further ado, let's jump into the next conversation, and is Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser. I want to ask chat, how did you feel about this match? Because Ludwig Kaiser actually did a 6 seconds at the Royal Rumble. We didn't really get to talk about that much this past Saturday with the, a few exact people, that came out. We spoke more about the story and the characters and people that jump out. But now, since we're under certain individuals, we find out two things. That Ludwig Kaiser is the 6th second at the Royal Rumble, 5 more seconds above Santino Marella, and we have the Iron Man, the longest person in the 2024 Royal Rumble, and that's Penta. He had a 43-minute, if I remember correctly, from the top of my head. So congrats to these two who had this match of, let me see, and their match was a 9-minute and 57-second. Penta defeats Ludwig Kaiser. Great match. Both of them were going back and forth. Both of them had a good match of great showing, and I was really entertained by them. Penta continues having the fireworks where the budget of Netflix goes. We have also the spinning sparkle, a little bit of pyro there as well. So, and Penta is loved by the fans. He does the cero miedo. For those that don't know, zero fear, or from Hispanics out there, cero miedo. For my parents out there and my brother. And Penta's loved by the fans. He goes to the left and right. He does it to the click to the fans. Really loved by the audience. And it shows the homage or the references many times by Penta taking out Ludwig Kaiser by the top rope. I believe he did it 3 times by the top rope. And every time Ludwig came out, he just gets angry and angry because he notices that it reminds him of getting kicked out by the top rope by Penta this past Saturday. So great references to those things. And the fucking core strength of Penta doing I believe, going on the top rope in the corner. I forgot what it was. Pat McAfee was calling it. I don't remember. Drop. Do you remember the move that Penta does when he goes up in the sky with his body and then drops the drop kick
I don't know the
to
name of the move.
Ludwig?
I know what you're referring to. I don't know the name of the move on the top of my head.
Yeah, I forgot it. But great move that Penta does. The first time he misses it because Ludwig takes him out, but the second time he delivers it and then he wins the match. Very good match overall. But before we get to Pete Dunne and Ludwig attacking, Drop came back. I already transitioned us to the Ludwig and Penta match, and I spoke about Ludwig having the 6 second of the Royal Rumble. That we got boy Penta having his third win. We also had the interview with Captain Kelly, but we also got verification from earlier today that Penta was one of the Iron Man survivors from that match. What you thought about this match and about the results?
So I was really happy that Penta had a good showing in the Royal Rumble because they're really pushing Penta to the moon. Like they're giving him some special treatment. He's undefeated. Like Jackie said with was it Jackie in the middle of the ring? I can't remember. Was it
I believe it was Captain Kelly. I believe it was
okay.
her.
Oh, it says in the notes it was Jackie Redmond. Oh, okay. So
Yeah. Oh, my apologies.
yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so it's like I'm happy that they're giving him a good showcase because they obviously have high hopes for Penta. They're really protecting him. They're not having him take any losses. This was a great match with Kaiser. I mean, Kaiser's a great wrestler. Penta's a great wrestler. So they're really trying to showcase, what Penta is capable of. So I'm really happy that they're giving him some special treatment because they've been doing that a lot with a lot of the people coming from AEW. They've been giving them some special treatment when it comes to their overall presentation in the company. When it comes to Cody Rhodes, I mean, he's the top guy in the company. Even though he's originally a WWE guy, but you get what I mean. But it's
Yeah.
like they're really giving him a lot of love, and I really appreciate that. And it finally looks like we're going to be getting into a story with Penta when it comes to Kaiser and Pete Dunne, because this was actually teased last week where we had some sort of interaction between Kaiser and Pete Dunne in the backstage. And Gunther's been doing his own thing, so Kaiser hasn't really been involved with him. So I'm very interested to see who's gonna come help Penta when it comes to this overall story or angle that they're trying to get into. I mean, it just makes me very curious to see if there's going to be any opening for someone because it doesn't seem like, at least as of right now, that Rey Mysterio or Dragon Lee is going to get involved because they're obviously dealing with New Day. It's been a ongoing thing between the both of them. So I'm very curious to see exactly where this angle story, whatever you want to call it, leads with Penta because he did end up getting attacked towards the end of the match because of Pete Dunne coming out with his music and then
Yeah.
Kaiser getting the edge in that. So that's going to be really interesting to dive into.
I'm glad that Ludwig is getting the build he is. He hasn't been at once I remember in a while. He hasn't shown up with Gunther. It's been a while since he hasn't shown up with Gunther or they came out as Imperium. So, Gunther's been in his own right, solo. And Pete Dunne, he hasn't done any tag team much since um Bate, I forgot his full name. He's still in recovery since we thought he might have shown up in the Royal Rumble, but um, Pete Dunne's tag team partner hasn't shown up yet. So I'm curious to see right now what's Pete Dunne's storyline is gonna be, and is Penta gonna take another W? Because eventually he's gonna lose, but it's gonna be has to be a strong opponent or a strong feud for him to actually have a losing match to actually feel earned.
Yeah, definitely for sure. That's why I'm really curious to see exactly where this is going to lead to because I don't know if it's going to be somebody maybe I'm not aware of that's like a free agent on the market that they have their eyes on where they might insert with Penta. Maybe it's someone else that's right in front of me I'm not really thinking of because he obviously needs backup and it seems like Ray's busy with obviously he's qualifying next week. He has a match at Logan. Dragon Lee's there. They made it pretty apparent that they're trying to keep him away from LWOs. I feel like that's probably a narrative they're gonna keep running
Smart
because
choice, which I'm
they
okay with.
because they would have done it already if that was a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
But hey, I'm good with Penta. I'm good for us to transition
Oh yeah,
to the WO.
yeah. So this was actually again. The theme song sucked. I'm sorry. I just want to come out and say that.
Oh, really? Well, I can't say yeah, but the theme song, like watching it live, I think I need to hear the song on its own because watching it
Yeah.
live, I was also with walking, so we're chatting, analyzing it, so it was a bit hard. The graphics was fire though. The
Yeah,
graphics were nice,
the graphics are fine. It's just I wasn't really that
and
thing.
the gear was good too.
Yeah, like the graphics are fine because I can't I don't really have that many like disagreements when it comes to like graphics and stuff like that. It's just I made it pretty apparent before on here. I feel like they should just come out with no music and just take it all in with the crowd because that's been their whole gimmick ever since they turned heel. They just have people boo them, hate them, and you just hear how many people hate them. And I feel like that just tells a better story with that because that's just how a lot of people had their character when it comes to
Well,
Tommaso Ciampa when he did a lot of disgusting things to Johnny Gargano during NXT Black and Gold. He came out with no crowd noise because he wanted to take that all in because he was a villain. He was a murderer. He was going to war with whatever action he was doing. He was taking over NXT. And you know how much people hold Big E close to their heart. I get the whole thing of having people come out with entrance music and stuff like that. But this is something I was afraid of that they were gonna do because the Def Rebel, like they have a couple good songs here and there
oh,
every once in a
but
while.
isn't that Def Rebel?
No, I understand that, but it's like the song's just not for me. I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's not gonna change how I feel about it. It's just it's not for me. It's the same issue I had with Finn Balor too on like the Royal Rumble. Like what kind of music is that? Does not
Oh,
fit.
that song was trash.
This does
Yeah,
not fit.
I agree. Look, when it comes to the New Day new song, I cannot give too much thoughts from a reaction for those that want to go see the VOD. Go check out
Yeah.
twitch.tv/AniMa W3 Studio. The VOD was, I mean, the song was fine. I'm not saying I don't like it as much as Drop does at the moment, but to me it's fine. I need to see it. I need to hear off air.
Mhm.
See how it tickles my pickles. See if it was actually good or not. If not, when the song actually pops up, I'm gonna zone out. So far, the first time, the graphics was nice, the new gear was nice. I do agree with Drop that maybe they could have continued this, but hey, maybe if Triple H hear from the fans, hear from the content creators, see the feedback, maybe he could try it next week, come out with the graphics but no songs, still have the crowd booing, or maybe they didn't boo as loud this time. So it really depends on try and error. So I'm really
Yeah.
curious to see where they go next week, see the feedback of
Yeah.
what everyone has said so far.
Yeah. We'll see how it is. Maybe it'll grow on me. But I mainly just want to talk about like what happened within the match itself because it was first
Yeah,
off, it was nice to see Dragon Lee back because he recently
same.
had a child, so it's nice to see him back on.
Congratulations again.
So it's nice to see him back on the screen. But we saw him and Ray teaming up against a New Day. That's an ongoing story going on. There was a lot of fast action throughout the match. And obviously, since they were in Cleveland tonight, Logan Paul interrupted. Obviously, Logan and Rey Mysterio have a qualification match to see who takes place in that Elimination Chamber. So that's playing into that story. And Logan, for the most part, he was just chilling there. He was even, next to commentary, just watching the match. And you saw him and Ray going back and forth towards each other. And then Logan Paul ended up costing them the match when it came to the overall winner of the whole thing. And then New Day was able to get a win, which was good in New Day's favor because I felt like it was nice that you gave them a win because that's something they desperately need when it comes to really having them feel like a legit threat. You can't always have them losing every match all the time. Like you got to give them some sort of credibility. So I am
Agree.
happy that they had the win in this match. I don't really have much to say about this.
Um, for me to add it and just piggyback chat because look, fuck Logan Paul. Because anybody that saw me and Watkins, were on the hype train of the fuck Logan Paul. He came out, and even Watkins said it during the beginning. He said, "Hey, we in Cleveland, we're definitely gonna get Logan Paul." And guess what? We did. The Maverick came out, and Rey Mysterio, squared off. Hey, Rey Mysterio, you push him down. What you expect? And you got thrown back in the ring. Dragon Lee was exceptional in this match. That's one thing I'm really happy that he did a good showcase. Is Ray. Disappointing that Dragon had to take an L when he came back, but I'm glad that he didn't get pinned this time. It was Rey Mysterio that got pinned, and the New Day should have gotten this win. You know why? Because drop their heels. They haven't gotten their first win as heels yet to seem and put them over as the heels in the storyline. So I'm glad that they at least get in this heel run and heel win. But what I'm curious to see, what's the end results of this heel run? Where is Big E gonna factor into this? Since you mentioned it earlier in the segment that we all love Big E, but since he didn't join the Royal Rumble, since we didn't get them, are we gonna have this cook until next year Royal Rumble? Are we gonna have this cook for SummerSlam? Really curious to see how this far will lead into it, since we already had their parents, their families. Shame Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Now it's like, what's next for them? They got their first win. Now what's next for the final week? Have any thoughts about that as well?
No, it's my overall thoughts based on where things are headed.
Okay, so more on the waiting game to see what's next for them. No theories right now. All right, me too. I'm good for our next segment, our quick fires.
So we have 3 quick fire segments that we're gonna go over. First off, it seems like we know the next direction of the War Raiders, which they're gonna be going after American Made, and they're going to have a match with the Creed brothers down the line going after the tag team titles, which is cool. I expect it to be a very good match, and it's good that we're moving on after the Royal Rumble to put some focus on the tag division, because compared to SmackDown, SmackDown has really taken off there. So that's really nice to see. Do you have anything you want to share on there, or?
I'm glad for the Creed brothers that they're actually getting this opportunity. The War Raiders need to be on screen, so I'm glad they're getting any type of video package. So that's one thing that we get finally confirmed. Like you're like them behind, since they only defended it once, and they give a shout out to JD. We give the shout out earlier to JD during the Finn segment, but he should be deserved because he's gonna be out. Even commentary, I believe Michael Cole also gave a shout out to JD, and he wrestled, even injury, puncture one, broken ribs. Best of recovery to this man. Hopefully you have the chance to be interviewed by us. We would love to talk to you and have some questions for you in your career. But what deserved for the War Raiders and the Creed brothers? We haven't seen you wrestle in a while. I want you to see some. I want you to do something. That's honestly it.
And then we also have Chad Gable continuing the story of him training in the dark arts, and I don't really know where that's going to lead to, if I'm being perfectly honest. The only thing I can really think of is this might possibly lead to the debut of somebody, but I don't really know. They've just been saying he's going to train at the dark arts. So I'm having a really hard time.
Aleister Black, would it be him? But then it's like, isn't he going to SmackDown since Zelina Vega went to SmackDown? It's like, how would this connect?
Yeah, well, we don't know for sure if he is heading there. I mean, you would think based on process of elimination, he probably would, since his wife is over there. But I mean, I don't know. They're not really giving us much to work with besides just repeating the same phrase that they do. I mean, if they threw a little clues in here and there or whatever, it'd be a little bit better to break down.
Yeah, they haven't signed anybody that we're aware of where it could lead to. So it sucks to say, but I am curious. But it's like, okay, so that means American Made would be doing their own thing. I mean, I will probably be having a few of Live Care because I have comments about Live Care. Fucking booking. That shit has to be fucking pissed. Even Watkins. I'm curious to see drop. Are you mad about this booking for next week?
Yeah, so
because I am.
So we have Lyra going up against Bayley for a qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber, which I understand they're doing these qualification matches every week because you have to when you build up to the Chamber event. But my whole thing with this is they teased something with her and Ivy Nile during the Royal Rumble. Even before the Royal Rumble, they teased it, and then you had Ivy Nile eliminate her in the Rumble. So just based off of that, I was expecting Lyra to just focus on Ivy Nile, deal with that feud, because they really need to start putting some focus on that title reign. Because I mean, whatever's going on with Chelsea, like, isn't the best. I'll be completely honest, but at least they're doing something with Chelsea Green on SmackDown. But they haven't really started anything when it came to Lyra's first feud after winning that championship. So I was expecting her to just focus on Ivy Nile, maybe have a little segment in the back of both of them going up against one another. But the only thing I will say about this that is positive, because regardless how I feel about it, we can't really change it. Bayley, again, is being selfless, and she's working with upcoming talent. So at the end of the day, that's something I can't really put behind me. That is something that's doing. I wish it was for something different besides having a qualification match on the line. Like I said, you know, she should be focusing on that title right now, and I would expect Bayley to get a qualification match with like somebody on Raw. I mean, I would expect Bayley to be part of these qualification matches since she didn't win the Rumble. So I thought that made the perfect sense. You could have easily done something like Bayley and Raquel or something along the lines of that to see who will qualifies for the Elimination Chamber. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts on this. Like, I just want Lyra to just focus on her title. The only thing I could really think of that they're doing is they have high hopes for Lyra. You can tell they gave her the title.
Oh, they do.
They have her interact with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was the person who Becky wanted to work with Lyra personally. That's why she won the NXT title. She helped work with other talent, and then she put Lyra over in that match. The only thing I can think of is I'm not entirely sure who's going to win this match. I mean, if I had to take a pick, I would assume Roxanne's going to get involved in this match, because the day that this match takes place, that Monday, it bleeds into that following NXT, and that it also bleeds into Vengeance Day next Saturday. So I can definitely see Roxanne costing Bayley this match. And there's a part
you know
of
what you bring a good point, Job, because if I may say something, the reason I was upset about this, because even Watkins as well, we said it during the sidecast chat, because Lyra Valkyria just became the IC, the Intercontinental Champion, the mid card to represent Monday Night Raw, and she just won her title. Drops it perfectly. She has somebody to feud with Ivy now, even American made, like we mentioned earlier. Chad Cable said, as a leader, I expect for you guys to get titles or go for the opportunity for the IC, the tag team. Ivy now's right there. Maybe a feud. Maybe Lyra was going to pass into the screen. Nothing. But then we get an announcement of Lyra versus Bayley, which, great. Drop said it. Bayley, thank you for being selfless. Work with the younger talent. Get them over. You know, putting the work in the ring. Awesome. But now why do we have an IC champion winner going for the Elimination Chamber when she could have a title match at the PoE or a build-up or something to represent something for that match? But then you have Bayley going there. Bayley could lose. Now you made me happy saying that Roxanne could interrupt it. So Lyra record doesn't get pinned, because if Bayley pins Lyra, that means she pins the fucking IC title champion. That means now, by obvious choice, Bayley will get an opportunity for the IC title. But that's like, it doesn't work for that. So for Bayley, Roxanne interrupting, where if she does a DQ, Lyra Valkyria don't win. I mean, Lyra Valkyria wins by a DQ, easy to distraction, like Job just said. But then she goes to the Elimination Chamber, which I'm not happy about. But the positive side, it will give it a showcase for her at the Elimination Chamber, for her to have a taste for it in the future once she does get the chance to win it. Because right now it's obvious that she should not win it for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just going to come out and say what I think, how this is going to go. So, obviously, we can't do nothing about the match. The match is made. We obviously expressed our thoughts on it. We're just going to have to deal with it. That's just how it is. So we have Lyra going up against Bayley next week. I mean, first off, I expected Lyra to go over this match. I'm not entirely sure who you guys saw going over in this match, but based on process of elimination when it comes to Bayley working with young talent, especially when it comes to people that she's trying to put over, Bayley nine times out of 10, or I should say 10 times out of 10, she normally loses these matches to help build those stars. Like Bayley has done that all year before she was actually getting to that spot that she earned last year at the Royal Rumble to win it and face Io Sky at WrestleMania last year. But I mean, I expect Lyra to go over in this match. I expect Roxanne to get involved, possibly distract.
I'm happy with that.
Possibly distract Bayley, because I never saw Bayley going over. But you think about it, when Bayley works with young talent, she doesn't normally get over. So I thought that was
is true. It was obvious, but I didn't know about the Roxanne since I haven't been consistent with NXT, so I forgot about Roxanne being part of it. But you bring up a good point, and also I can't wait for NXT tomorrow because chat. I'm not watching it on air since I'll be recording it during that time, but I'll be watching it on Wednesday. So when I see the clips of the VOD, I'm excited for it because NXT with Roxanne and Bayley makes more sense now for that being involved for next week Monday.
Yeah.
Now I'm more calmer that if Lyra wins because of a DQ. Makes logical sense now. I'm more calm. I'm okay with this. And Bayley, I can't wait to see where else. How do you get to WrestleMania, or if you're not part of it, but how would you get there? So I'm here for it.
Yeah. So basically, like Lyra's going over in this match. Roxanne's going to get involved. There's not going to be a DQ finish. I expect Roxanne to distract Bayley in some way. Lyra takes advantage of that. She pins Bayley, and then she goes to the Elimination Chamber because I feel like this might be leading us into Becky Lynch's return. I can potentially see.
Ooh, I see it.
Yeah, I could potentially see Becky Lynch coming back sometime this month, because they did say there is some creative plans for her. She wasn't planned to be at the Royal Rumble because they wanted to give Charlotte that moment, because if Becky did come back, it would outshine Charlotte.
And I'm okay with that, but just saying.
Oh, no, that's fine. But I definitely see Lyra going to the chamber. I could see Becky participating in that if she gets put into a qualifying match, or she's just inserted in there. But I expect her to be taking place in some sort of qualifying match. And I expect this to be the build-up to Lyra and Becky at WrestleMania, where I could potentially see Becky pin Lyra during that to eliminate her, or the other way around, and that's how we start building to that. That could not happen, and Lyra could just get pinned naturally, and then we just go to see what happens post Elimination Chamber. But that's definitely a possibility that I can see, that this is the reason why they're doing this.
I agree. I'm here for it. Now that we broke it down and let the frustration, the angerness mellow out, I'm okay with it.
And then the next thing that we're going to be talking about, which is our last Quickfire segment, is that it was confirmed, because the transfer portal did officially close, that AJ Styles is transferred to Monday Night Raw. For me, I am super excited for that, because AJ Styles has done everything that he possibly could on SmackDown. He's had his moments with everybody there when it came to the main title picture and mid-card picture. So it's nice that we have AJ Styles on Monday Night Raw, because you can see him get in the ring with people like Chad Gable. You could see him get in the ring with people like Gunther, Penta, Pete Dunne, Kaiser, Seth Rollins again.
Braun Breaker for the IC title.
Yeah, Braun Breaker. They even seemed like they teased that when they were announcing that AJ Styles was going to be on Monday Night Raw, and just seeing Braun Breaker's initial reaction to that. Also, that could possibly lead into something with him and Logan Paul, because Logan Paul did eliminate him from the Royal Rumble, and Logan Paul is a Raw guy now. So that could definitely be a story that we could see as well. We could see AJ Styles and Sammy, AJ Styles and CM Punk.
And Gunther.
Yeah, so there's like a different playing field for AJ Styles, so I'm very happy with this move. This is a big get. There was reports saying that Drew wasn't backstage tonight, so I would assume Drew's going to be on SmackDown moving forward, because you would think you got to get a pretty big guy for SmackDown for a trade for
Yeah,
AJ
that is
Styles, because
true.
AJ
That is
Styles
true. And
isn't some small pick. That's a pretty big pick to bring to your brand.
that is true. And we might get Drew and Cody. That's something that we may get something for Elimination Chamber. Who knows? So I'm okay
Yeah.
with this. It's a possibility. And AJ Styles, welcome to Monday Night Raw. Can't wait to see the phenomenal one on Raw Netflix next week. So I'm here for it.
Definitely, for sure. Do you have anything else you want to say about the fire segments, or is that it?
No, I'm here for the quickfire segment. I'm here to quick out the show.
All right, so that was Raw. That was our coverage for Raw. My initial thoughts on this, honestly, I mean, I'm happy that we're getting the qualification matches for the Elimination Chamber. I'm happy to see Penta get another showing. Very curious to see where that's going to lead into. Love the angle they showed Sami and Kevin Owens. Finally, you know what Kevin Owens is doing next. Punk qualifying, getting that heat on Charlotte. Hopefully that leads into her official heel turn. And then, of course, you know, just getting that emotional moment with Jey Uso. That's going to be a very heart-driven story. I definitely expect it to be a story that's going to catch a lot of people off guard when it comes to the overall buildup. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Do you have any last things you want to share?
I will say this. Look, for any Charlotte Flair fans, understand that we love her. We are here. We are Ric Flair fans out here. But however, when it comes to earning something, we want to see you work for it. And Charlotte Flair didn't work for it. We understand that we love you. You miss us. You had a hard 2024 year, but we want to see you bust your ass. We want to see the heel Charlotte. And if this is a turning point to see that direction, I'm here for it. I support it. But let's see the direction, how it gets written towards to. Next, when it comes to CM Punk, I'm happy for you. Elimination Chamber with him and John Cena. Wonder who will be the next four superstars to cook that. I wonder if we're gonna get any SmackDown superstars for this Friday night, having any qualifying matches. How would it go? Who will be the next ones? I know we'll be getting those announcements with the next couple of days. So check on Grappling the Week or check on the Friday Night SmackDown coverage for that. And when it comes to Penta, I'm loving Penta presentation. AEW, you could suck it. You suck at your marketing. You suck at how to even give people the presentation. Because look at this. WWE, with 1 month of just having Penta, he has 3 wins over. He has merch. He is the Iron Man survivor for fucking the Royal Rumble. So this man has been cooking. So thank you, Penta, for being doing so much. And Dragon Lee, welcome to being back here, man. And Chad Cable, where the fuck you going? Are you going to Narnia? That's all. That's literally what I'm asking. Are you going to Narnia? Are you gonna find the Lion Witch in the wardrobe? Because who's the fucking dark ads are you learning from? And that's all I got. But before we transition to the outro, I'm gonna give you the quick plugs, guys, because you know what? If you haven't noticed, these down below, right there, like it is, AniMa W3 Studio. That's the main brand. That's the umbrella. We are the branch to the umbrella. We are the Weebs of the Ring. We have a hashtag. We have a handle. You can find out where you watch it right now on the YouTube. You can also check us out on the YouTube podcast, the YouTube audio. You can also check us on audio feed. You can also check us on the social media, which is TikTok, Blue Sky. If you still have TikTok downloaded, if you also have IG Reels, Instagram is what I meant. If you also have Twitter, we're all on the handles. So check us on Weebs of the Ring. Check out Drop This Box, where he has his own content we post every day. And check out the breakdown, his thoughts, and the love he has for the fandom of content media. Check out Watkins. Check out the main brand we have off the bench podcast, Anime Lady podcast, where we have content all the time and reactions on the AniMa Studio Vault of Solo Leveling and Dragon Ball. And everything else, Grappling of the Week this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. EST and this Friday for SmackDown at 11:20 p.m. EST. Other than that, we appreciate you for checking us out, guys, all the week, and thank you for supporting us. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you are watching us, I see here on the YouTube studio we have 92 views, so we appreciate for everyone checking us out. If you check us for the first time, if you're entertained by us, like the video, subscribe, and press the bell notification, and comment. Tell us your fucking thoughts. We appreciate you. You guys are make the show possible. Thank you. That's all I got.
All right. So, transitioning to our outro, I want to thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your night to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, why not do exactly what Vash just said? We are known as Weebs of the Ring on all social media platforms. Also, be sure to use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us about anything regarding wrestling before, during, or after our shows. Feedback is always appreciated as we are nothing without you guys tuning in. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa W3 Studio. Thanks to our production team for all of their hard work. Thank you once again for joining us, and remember, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Buenas noches.